another Pete Seeger story. This one shared by a friend of a friend of a friend. A week before he died, Pete phoned a history colleague of his friend to announce that he had put aside the day to memorize Shakespeare's Sonnet 65. He said, because I couldn't delay it any longer. May we embrace today the things that have been calling to us. And as our reading this morning, I offer to you Shakespeare's Sonnet number 65. Since brass, nor stone, nor earth, nor boundless sea, but sad mortality o'ersways their power, how with this rage shall beauty hold a plea, whose action is no stronger than a flower? Oh, how shall summer's honey breath hold out against the wreckful siege of battering days, when rocks impregnable are not so stout, nor gates of steel so strong, but time decays? Oh, fearful meditation, where, alack, shall time's best jewel from time's chest lie hid? Or what strong hand can hold his swift foot back? Or who his spoil of beauty can forbid? Oh, none, unless this miracle have might, that in black ink my love may still shine bright. You may have noticed that I'm wearing the hideous t-shirt again. This is because we are currently in the midst of 30 Days of Love, a month-long spiritual journey and commitment to sustained action and service, sponsored by the Standing on the Side of Love campaign of our Unitarian Universalist Association. The broad message, Standing on the Side of Love, emerged as a rallying point in Massachusetts during our early efforts for fully inclusive marriage, and later during the fight against Proposition 8 in California. Now, I know I've told you about the song, but I don't think I've ever shared with you how the Standing on the Side of Love campaign came to be. It was begun a few years after the song was written as a response to a tragedy at our congregation in Knoxville, Tennessee. On July 27, 2008, Jim David Atkinson entered the Tennessee Valley Unitarian Universalist Church in Knoxville with a sawed-off 12-gauge semi-automatic shotgun inside a guitar case. As a group of children at the front of the sanctuary performed a song from the musical Annie, Atkinson opened fire. He killed 2 people and injured 6 more. The first man that he killed was an usher who rushed in front of him to protect the children. Atkinson got a few more shots off before other church members wrestled him to the ground. Atkinson had targeted Tennessee Valley UU because of their liberal stance on social issues. Police say that he committed this horrific act out of a hatred for the liberal movement that he blamed for his joblessness. He targeted the church because of our Unitarian Universalist acceptance of gays, lesbians, and others who Atkinson felt were un-American. He wanted to create hatred, said the minister of that church. But instead, he unleashed unspeakable love. The evening after the shooting, members of the Knoxville church, along with UU President Bill Sinkford and supporters from the surrounding community, gathered in a service of healing at the church next door. At the end of the service, the children came forward to offer the song that they had not been able to sing the day before. they stood up in front of that grieving community to sing a song of incredible, unbelievable, irrefutable hope. They sang, "The sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow, come what may. Tomorrow, tomorrow, I love you. Tomorrow, you're always a day away." The outpouring of love in the Knoxville community following the shooting inspired the leadership at the UUA to launch the Standing on the Side of Love campaign in 2009, with the goal of harnessing love's power to challenge exclusion, oppression, and violence based on sexual orientation, gender identity, immigration status, race, or religion. The next year, the campaign began the tradition of reimagining Valentine's Day as a social justice holiday. This event has evolved into the 30 Days of Love tradition that we are taking part in during our service today, and which extends from Martin Luther King Day through Valentine's weekend. This past week, we were all saddened to hear of the death of legendary musician Pete Seeger. We've honored him in our service by singing some of his songs this morning. But to truly honor Pete Seeger, we must not only lift up his music, but also his activism, his stance for love. Pete Seeger sang and marched nationwide for civil rights and against the Vietnam War. He floated down the Hudson River in the sloop Clearwater to end pollution of his beloved river. He sang at labor rallies and gatherings for world peace. When Seeger was hauled before the House Un-American Activities Committee and blacklisted in the entertainment industry in the late 1950s and early 60s, he still refused to name names of the young communist and socialist organizers he had sung with. Instead, he sang wherever he could his song about love between the brothers and sisters all over the land. Music was Pete Seeger's gift to the world, but it was also the vehicle for his message of love and of peace. His banjo was inscribed with the words, "This machine surrounds hate and forces it to surrender." And so Pete's message is not so different than the message of the Standing on the Side of Love campaign, which says, when we stand on the side of love, we commit to recognizing the common threads in the justice struggles of marginalized communities and to remaining steadfast in our work to support these communities. Through our collective commitment to justice, we live out our faith in a better world, and we do so with patience, with hope, and with conviction that our collective love is far more powerful than fear, indeed more powerful than anything else in the world. On the 30 Days of Love website, people are invited to submit stories of love and courage. When people submit a story, it becomes part of an interactive map of the United States. Each story is represented with a heart on the place where the story is from. I clicked on several of these hearts and was moved by the stories I found beneath them. I found the story of Gordon from San Antonio, Texas, who watched brokenhearted as his special needs daughter Morgan was excluded from playing with the other kids in a hotel swimming pool because it was not accessible to her. From the conviction of that moment, he formed the dream of an inclusive park where everyone could enjoy the outdoors, no matter their limitations. His dream became Morgan's Wonderland, a colorful and ultra-accessible 25-acre park that serves as a haven, not only for those with special needs, but also for their families, friends, and communities. I read the story of Donna from Evergreen, Colorado, who heroically fought against an anti-gay ballot measure in Oregon, despite the threats to her family, and who now directs an organization called Grassroots Leadership that works to stop corporations from making outrageous profits by running prisons and detention facilities. There was the story of Joan from San Rafael, California, who convinced her church to become part of a rotating homeless shelter during the rainy season, and who is committed to making sure that each person who comes to the shelter receives not just a bed to sleep in, but respect and dignity as well. Just down the road in Brewster, Carla lifted up the story of her grandmother, who, as a young woman, was married to an abusive husband, and with the help and support of her minister, found the courage to leave him in an era when that was pretty unthinkable for a woman to do. I encourage you to explore this map yourselves if you have time this week. We can all use more stories of hope, love, and courage. And I hope some of you might even submit your own stories and those of people you know. I know that there is a lot of heart and courage in this room and in this community. On February 8th, many of my colleagues and hundreds of Unitarian Universalists from all over the country will be putting these shirts on and traveling to Raleigh, North Carolina, where they will join people of all different faiths for the Mass Moral March. Organizers are calling this the most massive moral rally in the South since Selma. According to the ACLU, close to half of the states in the U.S. with a concentration in the South now have some sort of voting restrictions. In response to North Carolina's voting restrictions and other moral issues, the NAACP is calling upon people who believe that an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere to show up. You can learn more about that mass moral march on the Standing on the Side of Love website, too. I'm not able to travel to North Carolina next week, but I will be with them in spirit. Instead, on Saturday night, I will be attending the gala ball put on by the Welcoming Congregation Committee of First Parish Brewster. 14 years ago, this group decided to put on a dance for their gay and lesbian members. They wanted to create an event where people could comfortably dance with their same-sex partners. They announced the dance at church, and the next week, the organizers received a hateful note from someone who was against them holding the dance. They were crushed. And they read the note aloud at church the next Sunday. What happened next is why I want to go to the dance this year. The organizers decided to go ahead with the event. And when the night of the dance came, they were floored when the entire congregation showed up. Not just the gay members, everyone came to the dance. They were not going to let hate be the message of their church. They had a message of love to share. For over a decade now, the First Parish has held a gala ball. The proceeds benefit the AIDS support group of Cape Cod, and it has grown into quite the event, I hear. But it has continued to attract both straight and gay attendees. As we dance the night away on Saturday, we too will be standing on the side of love. I don't think it matters much which cause you choose to get involved with. There is so much that needs to be done. I just think it matters that you do get involved. He Seeger once said, participation, that's what's going to save the human race. Standing on the side of love means participating, taking a stand for something, anything, that tugs on your heart. It means seeing something that isn't right and using your voice to say something about it. It means seeing someone who is struggling and standing with them so that at least they don't struggle alone. It means caring about the world enough to sign a petition, attend a meeting, join a rally, write a song. Sometimes we don't feel powerful, maybe even most times. But most of us are not using the power that we do have, the power to participate. We need to use our bodies, use our words, use our voices. These are our tools, quite powerful tools for creating change. As Margaret Mead once put it, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. May it be so. Amen. Blessed be. You know what song we have to end with. Let's join together for our closing hymn that's in your teal hymnal, number 1014, Standing on the Side of